Commuting by bike is a practical way to get in a daily dose of exercise. Not only is it a great way to clear your head before and after work, but it's a healthy way to get to work. You're avoiding the car, you're not polluting the atmosphere with any pesky emissions, and you get to ride your bike. Now, if you do commute every single day, your gear will take a bit more of a battering. So, with that in mind, we thought we'd share with you some handy upgrades for your next commute. There are three main considerations here: grip, comfort, and puncture protection. I know all you seasoned commuters like to fire away from the traffic lights as quickly as possible, but we'd rather sacrifice speed so we're not sitting on the side of the roadside soaking wet with a puncture and, worse, being late for work. Now, plenty of tyre brands make really robust tyres with breaker belts made from polymers such as Vectrum, which vastly reduce the risk of punctures on the road from foreign objects, which many of you may encounter on that city commute. Now, these tyres are fairly easy to find from a variety of brands. They're often advertised as having a puncture protection layer. Here at GCN, we're lucky enough to have Pirelli tyres as a partner, and their go-to tyre for commuting is the Cincherato, which has an aramid breaker belt for that added puncture protection. But plenty of other brands will have similar products too. You could also go tubeless. Now, tubeless tyres will add a great amount of puncture protection. At GCN, we've ridden over a huge amount of sharp objects. I'm pretty impressed by the results when using tubeless tyres. Now, if you are going to go tubeless, you're going to need a tubeless ready wheel set, tubeless tyres, and a good quality sealant. The benefit of tubeless tyres is that you'll reduce the risk of a pinch flat when you do hit those rather hard objects out on the road. Grip and comfort are likely to be another priority. If you're commuting in all weather conditions, you'll likely encounter some slippery roads. Now, riding with caution is the best way to stay upright, but having confidence in your tyres will go a long way too. Fortunately, you don't have to compromise more grip for more comfort. In fact, similar tyre properties govern both characteristics. What you want to look for here, especially on a road bike, are wider tyres. Wider tyres can be run at lower pressure, increasing levels of grip and comfort as the rubber conforms to the road, smoothing out any bumps and staying stuck to the floor. Now, this means that there'll be less chance of skipping and skidding when you're riding on a wider tyre. And I guess it's worth checking out your frame's clearance before you do buy a new wider tyre to make sure that that tyre won't rub on the frame and be too big to fit in the frame. Now, rolling resistance is also something to consider, particularly if you have a longer commute. And getting to work faster means that you can stay in bed longer. Now, this is a fine balance because normally when you reduce your rolling resistance, you'll normally reduce your puncture protection as well. So you have to weigh up whether you want to get to work fast and risk a puncture, or maybe take things a little safer and not risk any unnecessary stops. On to lights now, and we at GCN would always recommend having a charged pair of lights to hand when you are commuting. Even if you're travelling to and from work in the summer when you'll be riding in daylight conditions, we still recommend having a pair of lights just to make yourself a bit more visible to other road users. Now, most commuters will already have a basic set of lights, and we'd recommend keeping these as backup, but there are a few handy upgrades which you may want to consider. USB rechargeable lights are a great idea, and there are plenty to choose from. USB rechargeable lights are a benefit because you can easily charge the batteries when you're at work, so you don't have to worry about how much juice is left in them. They're also really versatile, often being quite a compact design, meaning you can clip them on quite easily to your seat post, a rear bag, your handlebars, or maybe even your helmet, just to make yourself a bit more visible at different levels to other road users. If you're looking for more lighting upgrades, then a dynamo hub could be a great investment. Now, a dynamo hub works by drawing power from your wheel so that you can charge or power a light while you're riding. Now this would be a great option because it means you'll never have to charge your devices because, well, they'll always be on whilst you're pedaling. It's also a great bonus because it means you're powering your lights by a renewable energy source, your legs. Wheel lights are something to consider too. These attach simply to your spokes and give you added side-on visibility, which is especially useful if you're commuting in busy cities where you'll be passing through a lot of busy junctions and having a lot of traffic oncoming from the side. Now, it might be for that reason, or it might simply be because you want to go all out and create a Tron bike like we did back in December. You definitely won't be missed on the commute on that one, will you? Clothing is another consideration that you're going to want to think about when you're commuting. If you are commuting, come rain or shine, well, it's going to get pretty miserable if you don't have some gear to keep you warm and dry. Now, especially if you're riding in torrential rain, you're going to want something to keep the elements at bay. Firstly, a good breathable waterproof jacket is a great idea. It will keep you dry all year round, and because it's not insulated, it won't make you overheat in the summer. And also, it will dry a lot quicker than a soft shell jacket, meaning if you ride to work and find somewhere to hang it up, it should be dry by the time you're due to ride home. Secondly, a base layer is a great idea as well. It will help wick moisture away from the skin, meaning that you won't get too damp from sweat when you're riding, and also if it rains, it will dry out relatively quickly, keeping you warm inside, which is what you really want when you turn up to work. You don't want to be turning up to the office shivering, do you? Now, if you do have a base layer, it might be worth investing in a second one, which you can stash at your desk relatively easily, ready to put on for the ride home. If it does turn out there's going to be torrential rain, you don't want to be starting in damp clothes, do you? And it might also be worth investing in a set of thermal arm warmers or leg warmers, which are also relatively small if you want to stash them in your desk, ready to be whipped out for the journey home. Commuting presents a challenge that daily riding doesn't. If you're going to work, you're probably going to be taking some clothes for the office with you, maybe some lunch, or even a laptop. Now, this is going to be quite hard to fit in your jersey pockets. Most people who do commute will take some form of bag with them already, but if you're going to be riding to work often, you're going to want to upgrade to something which will cope with those daily demands. There are a few choices here, and the main options will probably be between a backpack and panniers. Now, a backpack is a great option because it's lightweight, it's easy to carry if you're getting off your bike often, and it's quite versatile. However, it's worth bearing in mind that many panniers at the moment are quite easily converted to a backpack. So when you do stop, you can whip your panniers off, put it on your back, and off you go. So that's just something to keep in mind. If you do decide to go for a backpack, you may want to choose something that's rugged, waterproof, and has a chest strap for added support. You may also want to consider a waterproof kind of flap that goes over the bag to give that added waterproof protection. You may also want to think about getting a dry bag to put inside the bag just to make sure your gear and belongings stays as dry as possible. Equally, you may want to put your wet belongings in the dry bag to stop the rest of your bag getting absolutely soaked. When looking for panniers, it's important to make sure that they will fit on your bike. You may want to get a rack that is adaptable to your frame. If you can't find a rack for your bike, you may want to consider bike packing bags, which are a great option if you're going to be commuting on your racer. Now, when you do get panniers, you're going to want to get ones that are rugged, waterproof, and will last the test of time. Because, well, you're commuting daily, so it is going to get a fair bit of wear and tear. Panniers are often a lot more durable and waterproof than backpacks as well, and they won't cause you to get a sweaty back. Because your bike is taking all the weight of all that gear, you'll have a lot more comfort on your commute because you won't be hefting all that gear all the way to work and back again. Your bike will. One thing you may also want to consider are mud guards. Now, this is something your housemate, your other half, or maybe your commuting buddies will be really, really grateful for you to purchase. Now, why do we say this? Well, you're not always going to be commuting in those beautiful, dry weather days, are you? Sometimes it's going to be absolutely torrential rain. And a good set of mud guards is going to stop all that road spray, all that dirt, all that muck from getting on your bike and your beloved clothes. also your housemate's washing machine. Mud guards come in all shapes and sizes these days, a bit like GCN presenters. Now, you may find you go for the smaller ass saver, which will simply give your bum a bit of protection and quite easily and simply fits to the rear of your saddle. Or you might want to go for a full protection mud guard, which fits the whole way round your wheel, all the way to the bottom bracket, and will have a flap at the back, so it really stops the mud even getting to the furthest reaching of places behind you, keeping all your buddies well protected. Personally, I'd rather go for a full protection mud guard that fits all the way round to the bottom bracket. In my opinion, this is the best for stopping all that grit and grime from getting your drivetrain. You'll be so surprised at how clean it keeps your drivetrain. You could go out for a really rainy ride, come back, and your chain will still be in quite good condition. There are a number of different mud guards on the market these days, which should mean you'll find an option for your own bike, even if it is the most aggressive of racers. So there you go, a few handy tips which will make your ride to work a little more enjoyable. But what might we have missed? Please let us know in the comment section. We'd love to hear from you. And well, I better get going because internet service is patchy here and I've got a Zoom meeting to get to. Ta-ta!